Gosh, dang, what am I doing here? Trying this again? Fingers crossed, y'all. Maybe say a little prayer. I've had to resort to mobile hotspot for the first time ever on a live stream. As I'm sick, as I'm trying to fight out the cobwebs, figure out a solution, getting off the phone with Cox, the internet provider. They have zero solutions for me right now. Apparently there's outages. Like, why? In a currently fully developed area, are there outages? I don't know. But I am starting to miss Starlink. Is that a more secure way of obtaining a connection? I'm starting to think so. It's starting to make me think, didn't we put billions of dollars towards this high-speed connection that no one's now been connected on? It just goes to show how crappy our government infrastructure is. Because they could have potentially supplied everyone with Starlink, but they wouldn't do that because that would be feeding into a monopoly. We gotta minimize the power our freaking government has. So anyway, give me a thumbs up if this is streaming okay. It's the first time. I'm gonna actually check real quick, see if it's going through all right. First time. I'm gonna actually check real quick. It seems to be going. Let me know if there's any glitches. This is a pretty important episode. Got a lot of really important information to go over. Can't wait to dive into Under Our Skin. Eye-opening, frightening, powerful. Los Angeles Times. All these awards have been lauded to the producers. I can't wait to dive into this, folks. This is good stuff. All right, come on. Let me get my bearings here, folks, because seriously, as I become sicker and sicker, I'm starting to question my own sanity regarding fighting this fight. Because they clearly have other ways of impacting us, shutting us down, shutting us up. And it's in one hand with the path I've been on in this life with Lyme disease myself, and the disabling impact that's had. It's lit the fire to fight all like these narratives and get awareness out to up our health in one hand, but in the other, it's like I know that is a level of warfare that they can take action on to diminish. So pray for me. I'd love all the prayers. Welcome to a muzzled chat. So clearly I am going to switch gears today, and we'll be revisiting the Stu Peters Network and all the amazing content they have produced. I had a call with, shout out to Wendy, amazing individual. She's fought Lyme disease herself, and she knows how damning it can be, how it's a true epidemic and it's getting swept under the radar. How is it that we aren't properly educated on something that even the CDC reported over this last year, over 500,000 diagnoses? That's more than breast cancer and HIV combined. Yet we are all in the know on breast cancer and HIV. Could it be possible that in fact millions of us, some doctors even boldly state that more Americans more than likely have Lyme disease than don't? So that would mean hundreds of millions of us have Lyme disease and don't even know of it. Why is that? So let's ask ourselves, what is Lyme disease? How bad is it? How debilitating, life-threatening? How many are sick with it? Is it natural or was it created? Could it be a bioweapon? Could in finding these very answers help us with other illnesses, diseases, and bring understanding to biological warfare as a whole? Truly, all the censorship on these topics should in fact tell us everything we need to know. But for some reason, we haven't been grasping even that. So with that being said, let's play this quick little clip here. Ask yourself why would they censor this short clip? Do they not want you healthy or understanding what actually took place? How is this not alarming for folks? Blows my mind. Yes, we need your support. So this is another one we've recently dealt with censorship on. Why is that? Ask yourself, what is stated in this? I believe it highlights that level of censorship on these topics, that it implicates them, that their number one goal here is to diminish our health. If they diminish our health, then all their other tactics of control, taking over things as they have done in this very country, is going to continue, and it's only going to get worse. So we must maintain, not just maintain, the current level of health. We need to gain back more.
Why wasn't there the same emphasis on hardening up our immune systems and attacking the root cause of that? And it was all the airtime was around a pharmaceutical solution. This doesn't actually make sense, but it gets to the money. So working for the pharma companies, there's just nothing better than getting on the vaccine schedule. And that should not be a controversial comment. Right?
Not controversial at all.
A list of drugs that are mandated for every single American and paid for by that government, you want to get on that schedule. Why wasn't there the same emphasis on hardening up our immune systems?
Why wasn't there the same emphasis? Because these institutions, our health services, our government, they don't have health in mind. They don't. Otherwise, these would have been brought up. Things that actually would have led to more function and health among us would have been discussed. Why did they demonize all the doctors that brought these very solutions to light, threaten their licensing, everything? It goes to show not just bad intent, but there's an agenda they don't want exposed.
And attacking the root cause of that, and it was all the airtime was around a pharmaceutical
all
solution.
The airtime.
This doesn't actually make sense.
No.
But it gets to the money.
The money.
So
that's huge right there. They are not incentivized to produce healthy solutions for us. That's why this is being shadow banned and taken down. What was their... I should pull it up on my phone, but my phone's doing the hotspot thing, so I don't want to disrupt. Let me know, is this streaming okay? Are there any glitches? Someone just drop in the live chat that it's coming through decent enough to continue. If it isn't, it looks like my regular internet won't be up for another few hours. I don't know if that will even make it possible to get out an episode today. I guess that's a 1+ to being in the valley versus in the woods. I mean, in the woods, the Starlink seemed to do decent, but being out there, if it wasn't, I wouldn't have the ability to hotspot like I can here. So I'm really crossing my fingers that this will lead to a futuristic solution if in fact we have more disruptions. Why are we even paying for these disruptions? Interesting. But like right here, regarding the takedown of that very message, I send this out to TikTok and they have yet to respond to a single appeal and give us a description. Why are you controlling information such as this? What was said wrong here? TikTok is infringing on our freedom of speech. 100% it is. He wasn't even talking about anything controversial. I know the vaxxed word, why anything? You can't say that word. Why has it been demonized? I'd venture to say even if we were saying something pro-vaxxed, it's such a hot key word, their bots are just going to pull it down regardless. That should be so alarming. The bigger question for us now is, why are we so disconnected for that not effectively sounding the alarm and us recognizing the infringement, the damning nature of this, and the threat it actually is? It does implicate them gravely gravely. And yet we're not grasping that. We're so absorbed into our lives. I don't get it. We don't even seem to be amassing enough support to get these messages out even here. So not only are people not willing to drop what they're doing and get involved and get on the front lines themselves, they're not even willing to set down enough of us to support those that are. And that's why I literally question my sanity even fighting this fight as I'm getting sick and dealing with something else. Just painting a bigger and bigger target on my own back. Well, I can't imagine a world with this continuing. So I suppose if this is a hill I'm going to have to die on, then it's a hill I'm going to die on. One of the other sad, realistic realizations of that is the majority of people are just going to excuse themselves to, oh, it must have been Lyme, oh, it must have been this or that, and not properly even acknowledging the possibilities of what could take place even in that position. And they would just go on and not address these issues. I mean, I guess at that point, it really wouldn't be my problem, would it? Anyway, I know that sounds kind of doom and gloomy, but it's just the reality we're living in. I'm trying to be realistic about everything and just communicate. Please reach out to unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. I'd love you to join this discussion and we can chat all about it. Ask yourself why they are censoring this one. Truly does say it all. Clearly, we are all way too distracted as they dumb us down directly. Now, I know the volume kind of gets short here, so we'll go to a link. Bear with us. I can't wait to dive into Under Our Skin film/documentary. Area, it's kind of like the Times Square. You're going to put control on the Times Square? That's freaking outrageous. Get out of here. I was talking about this digital space, all the censorship here. It's literally like our Times Square of old, and they're just not going to allow certain individuals to even go there or speak there. They'd be in prison or shut down or taken out. Shiz doesn't belong in our country. Yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead and play this clip. This got censored. What does Harari have to say? You can't really hear Harari there, but we have it all pulled up. It's where Yuval Harari, Klaus Schwab's puppet of the World Economic Forum, argued on multiple stages, on multiple occasions, that humans are now hackable animals. And this is achieved through data collection. Governments and corporations can gather vast amounts of data about individuals, including their online activities, search histories, and purchasing habits. This information can be used to influence their decisions and behaviors. Neurotechnology, advances in brain computer interfaces, neurostimulation, and a bunch of stuff to look into here. Personalized persuasion. I believe it goes beyond this. They've literally talked about nanotechnology and things of that nature that literally could control the people from within the body. They've talked about it. And once again, why would that other clip of him stating humans are now hackable animals be censored at all? You can't pull that down and we're just questioning it. What's this about? So there was nothing hateful. There was nothing, how is it misinformation? An individual, we're just playing an individual saying things for themselves, right? How does that go against their policies? This should be a big light bulb moment for us all. And this, dare I say, anyone at this stage that would sweep just this under the rug and not look into the information, they've been hacked. They're proving a hackable animal. It's interesting. Some of the consequences include loss of free will, erosion of individual autonomy, our free agency, folks, our agency that's not free. Jesus paid the ultimate sacrifice. So many of our warriors that fought, bled, died on behalf of our freedom in this country. fact of the matter is we're not a free people anymore. Yes, we still have freedoms that are worth fighting for. But just this level of tyranny and censorship and infringing upon our First Amendment, we are not a free people, and we must get that back. New forms of oppression. The hacking of humans can lead to new forms of social control, where those with access to AI and biotechnology technologies hold power over others. It's right there, folks. Other solutions, we're going to tap more into Dr. Artis's webpage, a lot of things he's bringing up. There's other new affiliations in the pipeline, and that's why I wanted to switch gears. We'll get back into Stu Peters' information in the future, but given these Lyme warriors and what they're connected to, I am so happy to report. Now, I don't have a testimony on this product myself, but I've looked into it and it looks extremely promising. And I cannot wait to share some of this information with you, because I believe not only is it going to breathe life into so many that are struggling with Lyme, but folks that haven't been diagnosed yet with Lyme, or all of us as a whole, honing in on roots of issues and bringing health back into our lives. Like, that's so crucial. I apologize that my voice is all rugged. I'm just fighting some stinking bug of sorts, and I hope to be closer to normal operations sooner versus later. I'm happy to report last night wasn't as bad as the night before, so hopefully I am on the mend. Let's go ahead and dive into this documentary and let them do the talking, since I'm sitting here spinning my wheels. I love you all. I just want the best version of you, and let's start creating a community here, a communal effort on sharing information. Help us get to the root of these issues that are all ailing us. For frick's sakes, that they are targeting us. Our health organizations are not fulfilling all the labels and the conditioning and programming and this blind trust we've had in them our whole lives. It's been programmed into us. And it seems far out to an extent. I understand that, until people actually see how they fought to hide information and data that they've known. I mean, it's all out there. It's tough to have these conversations, because it's like, well, what receipts do we provide in the most profound order to walk people through, to like open our eyes, to lead to the real solutions? It's a great challenge, especially with where I'm at right now. So my only hope is that as we address some of these questions about Lyme, about biological warfare, it really sets us on a path to brighter futures.
I didn't know what was happening to me. Thought I was gonna die.
He kept saying to us, I have no idea what this is.
Millions
I've never seen this before.
are struggling
I've
with
never
this.
heard of this before.
We don't know what's wrong with you.
There's so much other information than we're going to be diving into it. There's the quiet epidemic. There's the monster inside me. There's even a volume 2 of this very documentary we're going to be diving into. The information is so crucial. Awareness is so crucial. Help us get this out there. It is an uphill battle. The censorship is rampant. We're clearly against every algorithm there is. So we really need your help in bringing people on, sharing this information. Appreciate you.
Dark and not seeing any light of recovery.
We have, I think, a horrible epidemic. people are sick, it's going to be who's answering for this, what did you know, when did you know it.
What kind of a breakdown or series of breakdowns in the medical system can lead to a setting where you have an illness and people walking into their average doctor's offices may or may not be likely to get effective treatment for it?
I would never have thought that a bacteriological infection producing the havoc that it produces can become so politicized. The truth can be so brutally distorted.
Wow. Well said.
When we moved to where we are now, and people we bought the house from said to us, be careful of Lyme disease, and then we met all the neighbors. Every house, for sure, had at least one case, and many houses had, all of the family had been infected. All of them were sick.
Are you able to stand up, honey?
Some of these stories are so
Shut this
heartbreaking.
Take you back in the house, okay?
Good.
She's such a warrior.
All the articles basically state that this really isn't that big of an epidemic and that it doesn't really do that much to your body, and that it's just a very easy, quick cure. A couple weeks of antibiotics and you're good to go.
Could
Obviously,
be
those people haven't actually seen what it does.
Right.
Pain, pain, pain. Relentless pain. No one would believe it. I said to my best friend, I said, look at me right now. Look at me. What do I look like? And he said, you look great. I said, you cannot imagine the pain in my body right now.
Folks, I just want to let you know, this came out in 2009 here in the United States. And it's still very relevant, and I can't wait to dive into the more recent ones in the data. Like, the quiet epidemic brings so much facts and data to the forefront. It helps us really see the holes in the corruption within our medical institutions and everything. It actually brings light, a whole other angle to the biological warfare behind the pandemic. So that might be the pandemic itself might be a little too sensitive of a topic to dive into, people, but through this, it very well could lead to opening people's eyes to all this other corrupt infrastructure. These companies, everything, are not incentivized on health. Just even the financial side of it alone. Not to mention the more nefarious agendas.
My case was sort of cut and dry. A, I was a park ranger. B, I knew exactly when I was bitten and I saved the tick and brought it to my doctor.
Wow,
C,
good.
I had a red rash. And D, I had a rather classic case of neurological Lyme disease with all the usual trimmings. But I brought all that to the doctors, and it took 5 doctors to figure it out.
Wow. He had all the proper indicators, and it's
I don't think you're sick. I don't think there's anything wrong with you. Everybody's telling you it's in your head. You know it's not in your head.
We don't think there's anything wrong with you.
There is nothing wrong.
We've done your labs. Your labs are fine. You're fine.
There's no medicine for someone like you. You're an attractive girl, and obviously you don't feel like you're getting enough attention.
Wow. Wow. 14 years.
This is my adrenaline now. So if you want to see me get worse, I'll just do one length, not even a lap. Half a length. I'll have to be hauled out. Like the catch of the day.
She's become very, very good at hiding symptoms. It doesn't matter how bad she is. I mean, the girl cannot get out of bed, and her catchphrase is, "I'll do it myself."
I can do it myself.
That's right. I mean, she can do it. I can go grab something in 30 seconds, or she can take 4 hours to crawl across the house, and she will not let me go get it.
I know what my bad days are like, and I do my best to try to prevent them. So to know that I could get worse, that's not something I'm looking forward to. The unknown is pretty scary.
I live on the west side of the northern Sierra Nevada in California. I'm a writer now. I was a park ranger for 21 years until I got Lyme disease and had to quit.
Wow.
It began with profound fatigue. Then I developed stabbing and shooting pains. I started having vision problems, blurred vision, and then came the memory loss and the cognitive problems. And once I drove to my office, a place I'd commuted to for 13 years, and stopped on the way home and called my wife on the cell phone and told her that I wasn't sure I could find my way home. I just wasn't in good enough shape to drive. Couldn't remember how to do it.
Wow. Folks can't even imagine till they themselves are afflicted.
If I hadn't had any kids, I might have killed myself.
Wow. It's so debilitating.
My life was so uncomfortable to be in that I don't know that I would have wanted to be here had I not had stronger family connections, you know.
Wow.
Kept me here.
I'm an event producer for U2 shows on tour. I get to do the VIP parties for all the band's guests. I've loved this band since I was a kid. I mean, I had the freaking personalized license plate. Everybody's in survival mode on tour. It's insane. It's completely insane. The hardest thing is everybody thinks I'm normal.
It's easier for our society to chalk up individuals as though the issue's just within them. It's a psychological, neurological impact, and just lead people to psychiatrists and doctors that clearly don't know the root of the issue. And it's like we're alleviating ourselves from doing proper research or ramping up the awareness that would actually lead to helping our loved ones. It's easier to make them out to be the issue. And that's a huge problem with this. And so much of this biological warfare that's playing out in our current era that we're like, world we're living in. We got all the receipts. We got everything to back it up. All the other documentaries will be going over that. Also, the book Bitten. There's just so much overwhelming evidence that I'm boldly stating it now. I should bring it as more questions and figure it out. But obviously, I'm in a kind of limited state, just trying to do what I can. And you know what? I'm tripping up too much. We'll just continue with the documentary. I don't wish this on anyone.
I was in bed feeling just so sick and just searing pain. It got worse and worse, and I started having pretty bad neurological problems. I got to the point of just do or die, just go for something instead of sitting in my room, rotting in my bed.
perfect weapon, wouldn't it be?
Over the last 12 years, I've been diagnosed off and on with lupus,
chronic fatigue syndrome, Crohn's disease,
Fibromyalgia.
Lupus, fibromyalgia, MS,
fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis.
Doctors thought I had ADD.
Chronic fatigue syndrome.
Chronic fatigue syndrome.
Parkinson's disease.
syphilis, multiple sclerosis.
MS to ALS to nothing.
They were pulling anything out of their hat they could think of.
Doctor after doctor after doctor after doctor after doctor, misdiagnosing her, putting her on some medication that didn't work, or just thought we were both nuts.
There's evidence that Lyme disease has been around for a long time. But here in the United States, it was the early 1970s when a Connecticut mom looked around her neighborhood and noticed something was not quite right.
Plum Island's over here.
Really, and doctors, were insinuating that it was all in my head.
A bioweapons lab off the coast.
In the 70s, we were all having strange symptoms, headaches and stiff neck and swollen joints. As I looked around the neighborhood, I realized that there were others that were having swollen knees and rashes. Finally, when our symptoms just weren't going away, I decided to call the state health department and report this mysterious disease that seemed to be coming to our area.
In 1981, I discovered the causative agent of Lyme disease. My discovery was published in the Science magazine and considered as a breakthrough.
We didn't know how to treat it. It was a newly described germ. It looked like syphilis under the microscope, but that's as far as we got. We also didn't have any idea how widespread it was, how much suffering it caused, and the controversies to come.
Wow.
Lyme disease is caused by bacteria, the Borrelia spirochete. It's spiral-shaped, so it can drill through tissue and get into just about any part of the body. The most common form of transmission is through the bite of several species of tick, commonly known as deer ticks.
All biting
There's
insects
inside the tick, so when it
can
bites you,
transmit
it just starts sucking up your blood, like Dracula would do. While it's like sucking in the blood, the bacteria will be released, and then it just gets into the blood, and it gets into your heart, and then your brain.
So terrible.
And then you have Lyme disease.
It could be passed down from parents. All biting insects, whether they are infected and they're passing it on to the insect offspring, that's debatable. But clearly they have the means. If they're biting, let's say, infected individuals and then uninfected individuals, they do have the means of transmitting that. Yes, mosquitoes included. So it is a far bigger issue than we know. Awareness is key.
It seemed like for everything that I'd read about it that it was harmful, there was always something I'd read about it that said, oh, no. It's actually very easy to cure.
Right.
Well, when I saw this doctor, he said, you've got a long road ahead of you. I'm Andy, take you, Sean.
To be my husband.
To be my husband.
To have and to hold.
To have and to hold.
In sickness and in health.
In sickness and in health.
To love and to cherish.
To love and to cherish.
Until death do us part.
Until death do us part.
This information's so good.
It's not the pair,
husband and wife,
that excites me.
There's no difference in how I feel about her now and how I felt about her then.
That thrill.
We'll see if he says that. point, I'm starting to get treatment. I'm all duh.
She's lucky to have someone so understanding. Most of us really don't have a companion like that. That kind of ramps up the sense of urgency
like a lot of people
for us all to gain more education on it, whether we have it or not, so we can more effectively show up on those that are suffering and those we love.
Lyme disease, I've been led to wonder why it's not being treated with the kind of seriousness that it deserves.
Right. It's a good point. Why is that?
This is not a rare disease. Nope. It's thought of as a rare disease, but in fact, there's nothing controversial about the fact that it's the most common vector-borne disease in America today. It is far, far more common and much more dangerous to the average American than West Nile virus is.
That's huge.
The Centers for Disease Control reported over 35,000 new cases last year. Yet because the disease is so often overlooked, they admit that the actual number may be up to 12 times higher.
And it's a lot higher than that now.
Far more prevalent than AIDS.
Yep. Crazy. Look at that.
The number of cases of Lyme disease went way up in this country last year, up by 41% to be exact.
A record number of Lyme disease cases have been reported in the state of Maryland this year.
New cases of Lyme disease are up 50% in Massachusetts.
The CDC admits there are at least 10 times as many cases out there.
The entire neighborhoods and whole families are being debilitated by this infectious disease.
Health officials are now calling it an epidemic.
I think there are hundreds of thousands of people out there who have Lyme disease who have no idea they have Lyme disease. There are doctors out there who aren't looking for it.
He just kept saying, you don't have Lyme. You don't have Lyme disease.
You don't have Lyme.
He told me that there was no such thing as Lyme disease in North Carolina.
Lyme disease doesn't really exist in Tennessee. You can't have Lyme disease because you haven't been to these areas on Long Island or this area in Connecticut.
Stupid.
I've been told it isn't Lyme hundreds and hundreds of times.
Are you sure you have it? How do you know you have it? Why do you say you have it?
He slammed his fist on the table and said, "Don't talk to me about Lyme anymore."
It is a national health crisis that is completely and totally being ignored and squashed. What is going on?
We have a major problem with this disease. We have a major problem finding out who's got it, treating them effectively and quickly. It's far more expensive to treat in late stages and less effective than it is early. And yet we don't respond early enough with many of the patients, and many of them get to late stage and they're sick for the rest of their lives.
Okay, quiet. No barking. No barking. Okay. I love you, my girl. I'll see you later. I'm a medical doctor with a specialty in pathology. I'm a general pathologist, but I'm doing molecular studies now in connection with my 20 years of researching Lyme disease. The research is something that I do on my own time. Okay, hi, Travis. My lab assistant, Travis. This part of the cellar is mine. This is my microscope. I've owned this for 20 years. It's a research microscope. The orthodox conventional view is that the bacteria that causes Lyme disease doesn't stay around very long inside the human body. That will be disproven.
So good.
Ellen McDonald is doing frontier research about the role of Lyme disease, Borrelia infection in neurological illnesses. And he's doing it against substantial resistance in the traditional academic community.
I'm one man working alone, and time will tell.
groups of doctors are pitted against each other over just about every aspect of Lyme disease, from the very definition of the illness to how it should be treated.
At the present time, the traditional medical community believes that there is basically only an acute form of the disease that is characterized in a soundbite as hard to get and easy to treat. For 10 or 15 years, there has been a second group of Lyme doctors that say, no, that's not true. Lyme disease can be a persistent chronic illness with many different symptoms. So the question that is posed at the present time is, does chronic Lyme disease really exist?
We are driving from Orlando up to North Carolina. It's a little over 500 miles, which is the closest spot that we have to Florida that actually has a clue about Lyme. My biggest fear is that treatments would be unsuccessful. She could continue to have a downward spiral. Neurologically, she could have things that are irreversible.
Yeah. Hey. Hey, how you doing? Hi. Okay.
While we're optimistic that Mandy will steadily improve, I'm skeptical that it's going to be smooth sailing. She's so fragile, and her central nervous system is so irritable. It doesn't take a lot to set her off. We have to figure out what's the best way to treat you intermittently, to get you to the best place so that your immune system is more in charge. So that's a tricky business.
He said, well, we're gonna have to do 6 to 8 months of antibiotic therapy. We'll have to put a catheter in, to your superior vena cava, and then you're gonna probably get worse.
Let's just do one at a time. Let's do this one, and this is as needed, right? Lorazepam, and here are your supplements, that's fine. These are all fine. What I sense is that we're at the beginning of something that's going to be huge, just like I had that feeling 20-some years ago with HIV. I've been seeing people from all over the country. They're sick, they've got a complex illness, they're being ignored. It's going to be an explosive area of medicine, and we're going to learn a lot about chronic illness. And I think that's going to help healthcare in general tremendously.
I have seen probably 30, maybe more doctors.
30 doctors.
About 15 doctors.
I've spent over $100,000 out of pocket.
$150,000.
Wow.
$75,000 to $100,000.
I'm over 100,000.
3 years, 5 years, 14 years, 15 years.
Oh my gosh.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Look at that.
I'm guessing that my case, which could have been controlled with probably a single bottle of doxycycline, at the time I was bitten, probably would have cost something like $25 or $50 total, plus the doctor visit. As it is, I'm guessing that my case is now amounted to $75,000 to $100,000.
See, we got to grasp that. Had awareness been out, doctors properly educated, he was one that had all the symptoms right away, that yes, initially there was a window where doxycycline could have in fact been effective while this spirochete was only in this man's blood. But clearly it got past all that, where pharmaceuticals are rendered worthless when it gets into the blood-brain barrier, all the other tissues, bone marrow, ligament tissues, then antibiotics don't do diddly. So it is crucial that we bring the awareness up. I'm over here trying to promote and get this message out. If you guys could share this amongst your social medias and family members, help us just get this information out to the masses. This is 2008, 2009. This came out. And there's so much information still coming out. It's like Lyme is getting brought to the forefront even over the COVID stuff. So the whole spotlight being on health in this moment is helping bring all this to the attention of we the people in the spotlight it more so needs. But how many just aren't paying attention? Diagnosing and gnosis it. I'm struggling with words. Bear with me. I apologize. But you saw the graph. It's ramping up, and it's over 500,000 that the CDC even recognized. That number's getting blown out of proportion. So it is so crucial that even anyone that isn't symptomatic gains more understanding and knowledge on this very topic.
My concern is that the majority of the patients that I see here in this office, this very office, who come to me because they've been treated for chronic Lyme disease.
Chronic, that's it right there. Why wait till it goes chronic? At the point, the vast majority wait till it goes chronic. In a lot of ways, it's, as things are right now, it's kind of too late. There's a big connection to suicide and Lyme disease where it pushes people past the brink. And we could argue that this is not adverse effects, that these are intended outcomes and as to why, and it fulfilling more so their nefarious agenda and why they're sweeping it under the rug. These are the same individuals, when you actually follow the ladder upwards, that talk about population control, world population, and how they're going to achieve that through health services and vaccinations, all of that. It's so clear. And the same ones are connected to these big social media platforms fighting misinformation, disinformation, where they themselves are fulfilling that. It's all connected, and it's crazy that this type of talk, it's realistic, it's real, is getting more so demonized and pushback from we the people than properly acknowledge what is really taking place. Freaking evil is here.
That they don't have any evidence of ever having had Lyme disease once. Ever. Not now, not a year ago, not 5 years ago. They didn't have the rash. They never had a positive blood test. They never had anything.
You see, class, my Lyme disease turned out to be psychosomatic.
Does that mean you're crazy? No, that means she was faking it.
No, actually, it was a little of both.
I was originally told at the very beginning that I had a very deep psychological problem.
They were telling me it wasn't real.
They said I needed to see a psychiatrist.
You need to see a psychiatrist.
Oh my gosh.
He told me, no, it's not Lyme. You don't have the rash. You are depressed.
You're faking it. You need to get mental help.
You're a teenager, get up and walk. She doesn't want to go to school. She's just depressed.
You think you're crazy, but I'm not. I know I'm not crazy. This thing screws you up big time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Tally-ho. Let the drag begin. Well, where we are now is a town in Cape Cod, and Cape Cod is considered to be endemic for Lyme disease. Oh, I'm good. This is a male deer tick that we picked up from the ground on our very first 30-second drag.
Wow.
This is a deer tick nymph. This is the second stage. They'll feed on a host for 5 days, maybe, and that's how Lyme disease is transmitted.
It's not just ticks, folks.
That this poppy seed-sized thing is going to make you bedridden, possibly for the rest of your life.
Ooh.
Now we're trying for a deer tick female. That'll complete the trinity. And here we are. The trinity is complete. There are 2 females. Let's call them Thelma and Louise. And they're on the hunt. Oh, there's another male. There's another nymph. We got another nymph. So our odds of getting Lyme disease here are going up.
Wow.
Despite years of education, the incidence of Lyme disease has been raised by 40% from last year. It's only going up.
Since then. Blown up.
This is all tick habitat, everything we're driving by here. And Lyme is turning up in states where it's never been known.
Right. All 50
I grew up
states.
in this part of the world, and we didn't have a problem with Lyme disease that we know about. I'm convinced that in the long run that what we're going to learn is that we're seeing a process of ecological change. We're living in the largest extinction in 65 million years of other forms of life. While many species are dying out, viruses and bacteria are finding new opportunities. Warming climates, jet travel, and human expansion into wildlife habitats are favoring diseases that jump from animals to people. Diseases we're not prepared for.
It's possible that years ago the patients were only getting pure Lyme disease, and this might explain why the literature, there's such a disparity, where some people say, oh no, Lyme doesn't look like this. What we're now seeing is these ticks are containing multiple organisms. They're not just containing Borrelia burgdorferi, the organism that causes Lyme, but they're containing Ehrlichiosis, Babesia microti. It's a malaria-like organism. When you get Lyme and Ehrlichia and Babesia and Bartonella henselae, cat scratch fever, and Mycoplasma fermentans and viruses, the immune system gets overwhelmed. I'm not sure years ago all of these co-infections were present as they are now. Now the patients who are coming in to see me are multiply co-infected. They're much, much sicker. And it's because it's no longer just Lyme.
Ticks are very sensitive to dryness. Their bodies desiccate easily, and in dry weather they hide deep in mossy crevices on the barks of trees, or in the leaf litter, or in wood rat nests. Damp weather, however, makes them more active, and they come out and stand around the tips and branches and blades of grass by trails like hitchhikers at a freeway on-ramp. I want us to see clearly how things are really going with nature. We have not succeeded in developing any level of independence from it, nor in fact are our bodies in any way independent of it. We've always said, well, you know, sooner or later, some of the damage that we do to the earth can come back to people. But I think at some visceral level, we've expected we could evade it. And I think now maybe some of that bill is coming due, and we're beginning to see some ecological changes that are capable of invading people's bodies.
A spirochete is a parasite, like a virus is a parasite. It has to adapt to different environments. So you could have a very virulent disease-producing organism. You could have one that likes to go to the joints and doesn't want to penetrate and cause injury in the brain. You could have one that goes to the skin.
Lyme has been attributed to over 300 other illnesses immune-related. It's being swept under the rug. All these other diagnoses. It truly is the perfect bioweapon. You can look up Plum Island, a bioweapons lab that was kicked off in the freaking 50s, and how close that is to Lyme, Connecticut, where they isolated the first deer tick and the spirochete in the wild. You just put things together, two and two together. It takes no rocket scientists. This is the perfect bioweapon that is diminishing our abilities to function in huge ways. And the biowarfare has only advanced since then. Gain of function, mRNA. It's crazy stuff. But, I mean, plugging our ears, burying our head in the sand doesn't make it any less true or real, the very threat. So we are in a fight for our abilities to function, our health, and What is more important than that? Everything else really doesn't matter at the point you're bedridden. What does anything in this life matter anymore? Do we have to become afflicted and in that state to now care about this? Luckily, I've gained function enough to be here with you today and sound the alarm. From my experience, this got so bad for me. I was sitting there contemplating all these creative ways to exit this life. It was so debilitating. Bedridden for months, all the pain, the neurological dysfunction, memory, lethargic, just couldn't even function at all. All quality of life ceased to exist. Not to mention, within the body, your dopamine receptors don't work, your serotonin, so there's no happy being, your cortisol's all over the place. They have you right where they want you. This evil in this world that is all about power, control, a number of population that isn't threatening their control and their status in this life. It all makes sense. It all starts to make sense. I'm having a hard time even with this new whatever's ailing me that's got me sniffling. It's moving into my throat, giving me a bit of a raspy voice. But as my health's deteriorated with whatever I've picked up, which is the first time, by the way, since I've been on these protocols, I've been supplementing ivermectin. These things aren't going to protect us from all this new sprays happening in the skies, the shenanigans being put into our water, the centralization of food that they're doing and acquiring and putting mRNA in our food sources. Why is it so much of our ingredients, it's illegal in over 30 other countries? It's clear what they're trying to do to Americans here, and not just America, but across the globe. But I'm glad to see in some countries that the people unify enough or have seemingly elected people that actually seem to care about the people and minimize this type of deterioration. Why have we accepted it here? It just goes to show how corrupted everything has been, and the sense of urgency of rebuilding things to ensure our health. We lose that. We lose everything. I cannot sound the alarm on this or articulate it in this moment well enough. I welcome you onto the podcast on muzzlechat@gmail.com. Let's have this discussion. You could talk about it clearly in ways at this point that could help light that spark, light bulb moment, whatever terminology you want to use to get people on board with this type of warfare.
One of the hallmarks of the onset of untreated Lyme is a multi-system involvement. Different parts of the body, things changing and moving around.
Look at that list.
You might have a few weeks of body aches, and then you might have a few weeks of headaches, and a few weeks of real profound fatigue, and a few weeks of confusion, where you'll have pain in the large joints, and then it'll switch to the small joints. And then, you're going to a neurologist, then you're going to a bone doctor, then you're going to a stomach specialist, then you're going to a counselor.
Who has that time, that money?
And they get labeled as being crazy.
Severe headaches.
Cognitive problems.
Wow.
Fatigue, headaches.
Cardiac arrhythmias.
It hurts on my foot.
Joint pain. I have arthritis.
I'm tired. I hurt.
Involuntary movements.
Brain fog.
I lost the use of my right arm.
I became dyslexic.
I had hallucinations.
Blurred vision.
Light sensitivity.
It's a long laundry list.
Yes.
The tests for Lyme disease were developed more than a decade ago. They were controversial back then, and in all this time, no better tests have been approved, even though almost everyone agrees there are problems with the current tests.
Yes, there are.
About 50% of people who actually have Lyme disease are negative in their test results with existing methods. If you're unlucky and you have real disease, but you test negative, your disease is still real and you still require treatment.
I know one of the issues, we'll give a spoiler to the Quiet Epidemic. They actually bring all this information to right in front of our eyes. When they actually, back in the day, created a Lyme disease vaccine. So no surprise to us, it actually created more adverse effects than it was worth, so they had to halt it. But in creating that vaccine, what did they do? They identified 10 different markers as far as the CDC Lyme positive diagnosis. Well, they removed 2 of the main markers because the vaccine. They didn't want to create false positives due to people getting the vaccine, which had a very short shelf life, and the majority of us never even got that, right? So they never reinduced those 2 main markers. So based on the CDC, out of like the 10, you need 5 to get a positive diagnosis. That led to so much of my false negative Lyme positive tests, but had those been reintroduced, those 2 markers, I would have been Lyme positive even through the CDC's defective testing, because there's still defects in their 10 markers. Like, you got to be able to see through the cracks because there's all these different co-infections. It's never Lyme in by itself. And so many of the other co-infections, Lyme is able to kind of hide because these other things start, it's like Lyme hides behind these other things. It's hard to describe. And a doctor once explained it, such as like, view Lyme as a spider, and there's this huge web, kind of the co-infections, all these other things. Until you start addressing all of that and mold toxicity, all these other toxins, you're really not going to get to the spider. So you kind of clear out the web first, and not just identifying what's in you, but getting to the root of the issue and bringing health back in. It's crazy. Why to this day would they not reintroduce those 2 things even into the seat? Because it is not in their benefit to do so. They do not want us to properly acknowledge what is ailing us. There is no benefit financially even to them in doing this, which goes to show they are not in the business of health. All these institutions, even the education our doctors are receiving, they've been indoctrinated and misled to a lot of their teachings. Now, luckily, so many of the doctors, more so on the fringe, have, not even more so on the fringe, like they're viewed on the fringe from the medical establishments, once again, because it's not beneficial to them. So they have big money, all these things to create these labels to doctors that more so re-educate themselves on the indoctrinations they received through the university, and actually start fulfilling, practicing medicine and identifying real solutions. And it's not just cancer or Lyme. You see where my brain was going? Spoiler, it's also cancers. It's all these other things. It's like, we don't even need a cure for cancer by a lot of doctors and information they're sharing. They're like, we actually can just address within the body to where cancers won't even be an issue. Like, they can't survive. So in a way, yeah, it's that 4-letter word you never use, because if you talk about cure, you got legal, you got knocking on the door, you got all these things, and yeah, you're now challenging such big industry like the medical war industrial complex, that people get freaking disappeared and suicided over solutions like that. So cure is just not even a word you use, but we can make it a non-issue by making it a non-issue because it can't even thrive within the body. So I'm so grateful for so many of the doctors, whistleblowers, individuals willing to put their lives on the line to our benefit and actually bring health in. Can we make health popular again? To talk about, we shouldn't be indoctrinated and programmed to push back as people are sharing information. It's through absorbing all this information collectively as a community that we're going to really hone in on the solutions and breathe health in. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for joining the cast, all your love and support. It's you why I continually do this. And keep me willing to fight this fight, even at great threat. There is personal concern that I'm going to want to address here in the future, and a deterioration of my body that is taking place. It's not even this recent bout of the sniffles that has me concerned. I'm down over 25 pounds of muscle and my body's continually deteriorating. So it'd be nice to see a shift. I just don't know. I don't know a lot of things. Just trying to figure it out on all our behalfs. Love y'all.
When I got diagnosed with Lyme, I thought, great. Oh, fantastic. Finally, I'm going to get rid of this thing. Course of antibiotics, I'll be good to go. I could never have imagined that would be this long with the possibility of being forever.
Like, same experience here. These are true warriors.
Go for Dana. I'm very scared of actually when the tour ends because I feel like my body will collapse. I'm a little afraid. You know, I'm definitely going on adrenaline and the pain's getting worse and worse. And I'm getting, you know, more twitchy neurological things. This is a brilliant distraction.
And my heart goes out to her and so many.
Lyme pushes you to the point of what do you want? What are you living for?
Yeah.
It's not enough just to be alive. I mean,
it's designed to be that way. It's so heartbreaking.
Please take me. I can't do this.
This is the height of the season for baseball, summer vacations, and Lyme disease. The disease is now being reported in almost every state, and it's reached epidemic levels in some parts of the Northeast.
89.
The newest research indicates the tiny bacteria pose a special risk during pregnancy, since an expectant mother may not know she's infected.
We have examples of infection causing miscarriage. We have examples of infection causing death of the baby at the time of birth or shortly after birth.
I've had 4 miscarriages, 2 of which were positive for Lyme disease. And we had an 18-week loss that at 15 weeks was healthy, genetically fine, and at 18 weeks the loss was proven to come from the Lyme infection.
Elise came to me with Lyme disease. And it just so happened that as she was finishing up the treatment, she got pregnant. And we followed her with the pregnancy, and she was doing fine initially, and all of a sudden she miscarried.
2 weeks later, the OB came back and said, you were right, it was Lyme disease. The baby was infected, the fetus and the placenta were infected, Elise. And concluded that that's what took the life of this baby at 18 weeks.
In utero fetal transmission of Lyme disease to a fetus is something that has been of concern to patients and physicians for many years. We've looked carefully at that. There have been numerous studies. There's not been one documented case of congenital Lyme disease.
Well, that's nonsense. Plain and simple. And it's not only nonsense, there's significant peer-reviewed articles showing transmission transplacentally and at autopsies. It's just nonsense. How could that not be? It doesn't even stand up physiologically. It makes no sense.
It makes sense for them, pharmaceuticals, government, to take a stance against all of it because they don't want to assume liability, accountability, nor is it in their benefit financially for us to hone in on our health and the roots of the issues. So corrupt.
Trying to have another baby has been very frightening. When I get excited about having a baby, I squish it. I don't let myself get excited because I'm so afraid of setting myself up for that disappointment again.
There's no way to live.
And a day for me is like a lifetime. And every visit to the doctor is filled with fear. Every time I listen to that Doppler come down to my belly, I wonder, is there going to be a heartbeat today?
At this point, I have had many women who've gotten pregnant who've lost the baby. Or they give birth to a baby that has Lyme, and the babies don't have, the developmental growth may be off, their IQ may be lower, they may develop seizures or some other type of neurological problem, and it's not picked up because the mother was not known to have Lyme.
It's not picked up. Gotta change that. We have an opportunity, all of us, right now. Let's get this information out.
You can't imagine this. How could you?
Yeah.
You just can't.
Hi, my name is Jared. Before my Lyme disease got so bad I was able to talk. Now I have to use a communication device.
I wasn't a real healthy pregnant mom with him. Well, in retrospect, I realized that I was sick. I had Lyme disease, and I did not realize that that's what was going on. I knew something wasn't right from the time he was born. I knew it. I kept getting poo-pooed by the doctors. They said, just let him be and it'll all work out. And it didn't work out.
Ready? Okay.
At age 6, we got the news that he had brain damage, and they didn't really know why. They thought it was something that happened in utero, and that the damage was done, and then we were to just keep moving forward. But he didn't move forward. He kept moving backwards.
Get your bend, bud.
Lyme disease happened to be everywhere around us. By then it was as if every neighbor was coming down with it, and it was like hitting me from every direction, as if, you know, wake up, dummy, you're not paying attention. You know, there's Lyme disease everywhere. There's a gentleman who lives right up on the hill up here, and his previous wife passed away. She had Lyme disease, and now he's remarried, and his new wife has Lyme disease.
This man here was very ill from Lyme disease. In the house over here to your right, those people had it. And same with the lady that lives here. She has it.
I put a lot of faith in the doctors. I believe them. I want to just shake them and say, how many more kids are you going to let go untreated because you're not recognizing what's happening here?
Good points.
I've never seen a child who's had late-stage neurologic Lyme disease. We just don't see late neurologic disease in children.
I used to do ballet, and I was in the Nutcracker a bunch of times. That time of year was always really crazy and running around, going to rehearsals and stuff, but I loved it.
Her ankle was bothering her. Then her right knee blew up, and they tapped into it, and they found that she had late-stage Lyme, and it was in her brain.
Wow.
She just went downhill very fast. All of a sudden, she couldn't pick up a knife, pick up a fork, couldn't write with a pencil. And this all transpired in the time frame of overnight.
Wow.
They insisted that she's making it up and that she was going to have to go on psychiatric medication if she didn't stop it.
Wow.
Rock bottom to me was that summer before we went to see Dr. Jones. She couldn't hold her head up. She couldn't sit up. She couldn't talk anymore. And not knowing if they were going to keep her on the medication, because they kept saying, no, only 28 days. And I said, well, I'm going to Connecticut and I'm going to see this other doctor. And them fighting me and saying, well, he's controversial. And something in me just kept saying, no, you're going.
The thing that gives me most joy in treating the children with Lyme disease is seeing them get well and cured. I don't consider it a job. I consider it to be more or less like a calling than anything.
I love it. Wow.
My practice consists of over 9,000 children from every state in America, from South America, from almost every province in Canada, and from every continent abroad. The practice is growing at the rate of 5 to 10 new encounters per day. They have very complex, serious illnesses. However, it's nice to see them get well.
And the system goes against men like that? It goes to show how upside down things are. Wow.
Some of the Lyme literate physicians feel that one can diagnose Lyme disease on clinical grounds alone, not necessarily relying on any laboratory data. And then furthermore, long-term antibiotics are the right treatment. That has never been shown in any double-blind controlled randomized trial.
I've worked here for 8 years, and I've seen many patients come and go, and I've seen the success he's had in his treatment regimen. Yes, we do treat aggressively, but I think that's what works.
In a way, it's like the perfect storm of diseases because of the timing of a couple different events in the history of medicine. 1980, the United States said it was okay for government institutions and universities to patent and profit from live organisms. So the Lyme disease organism was discovered in 1981, and all of a sudden there was the equivalent of an Oklahoma land grab, people looking under their microscopes, patenting pieces of the organism. So the people that are credited for being the Lyme disease experts no longer shared information about a new, really dangerous pathogen. They hoarded the information because they wanted to protect future profits.
You have professors, especially in the biosciences, are trying to take their discoveries, often made on the federal nickel, and take them private.
Says
they
a
patent
lot.
them, they start firms.
Most patented disease they're
What's
known to man.
commercializable is driving the research agenda in too many cases, not what's medically necessary and what's medically useful.
This prior pandemic, though.
The other thing that happened was the rise of managed care. Insurance companies and HMOs realized that if they can get researchers in universities to define diseases and write guidelines for diseases a certain way, then they could help manage the escalating medical costs. And really what this means is the people who previously protected public health, so like the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, and the NIH, and universities who didn't have any commercial interests, all of a sudden they were partners with Big Pharma, and their motivations completely changed. We no longer had oversight and checks and balances in our scientific system in the US. It was rife with conflicts, and just now, 20 years later, we're beginning to see what happens when you have unchecked conflicts in medical care.
Wow, well said. I believe that's the Chris Newby, by the way, the one that produced this amazing book, Bitten. Let's do a quick plug. Under Our Skin, you can buy the DVDs, you could buy the book. We plugged their page. You could even donate. I can't wait to watch this volume 2. But there's donate buttons. There's a couple even trailers here for the two different ones that we could share hopefully get more people just to absorb this information. These are amazing tools to this day, even though they're dated. Can't wait to get into the more recent information. This is definitely something I feel impressed to do thorough deep dives on. And that's where, hey, I'd appreciate any of your prayers, because I so badly need to overcome the sniffles I'm dealing with now, and also Lyme disease. For me, it's been a long journey. It's been years now. And it's like I've made assessments as of late and had personal discussions with loved ones in my life, I've luckily achieved a level of quality life and health to where I'm semi-functional, and there's enough quality of life there to just be engaged and enjoy life enough. It'd be nice to advance that, but my heart really goes out to those that haven't had that breakthrough. And for me, the number one doctor, the number one solution over all the $100,000+ and all these doctors, all these protocols and regimens and supplements and pharmaceuticals, IVs, treatments, the list goes on forever, has been establishing the relation with our loving Creator God. I mean, Jesus healed the blind, healed the lame. So I challenge us on individual levels to not disregard the potential greatest healer of them all. And not just that, kind of lifted the veil in such a way that has breathed in all these other gifts just of joy, peace, clarity amongst all the challenges, where it shifted my perspective more so, less of a victim and more so just full of opportunity and excitement for what tomorrow holds, no matter what comes. So yes, this is a hill I'm willing to die on. As insane as it feels, like, oh wow, with my track record to be addressing these things, painting a target on my back in this mortal existence. I mean, just the slightest little hiccup with the dang sniffles has me dang near bedridden. And I just don't want that for us, folks. That's why I just feel so impressed to really dive in on information like this. Let's continue.
Okay, today is July 5th, and Manny's having a little bit of an episode.
Poor thing.
It's a feeling of being trapped within your own body.
Right.
So it's like being wrapped up real tight like a mummy, so you can't move anything. And then having tape across your mouth, so you can't say anything. But reality is, you gotta kill them. You gotta kill the little bugs, because they're taking over. No, I was okay. I was adapting my life to what was going on. Now I want it back. So it's a war.
Yes, I love it.
It got so bad after the tour because I really did some damage. Wasn't willing to admit it to myself or anyone. I'm in Seattle to see Dr. Klinghardt, one of the foremost specialists on Lyme disease.
This is great. I feel horrible. It's perfect.
He's the one that I respect the most. He's the one that I trust. I've purposely not let myself fall into the whole trap of doctor after doctor and treatment after treatment.
Wow.
Because I'm waiting for the right one.
You guys ready? Coming back, guys.
It has been a trap, by the way.
Really?
Nice to see you too.
So talk to me first. Give me all the information I need to be a better doctor to you.
So how do I explain 7 years of...
Okay, so you've been ill for 7 years.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
37.
What have you done in terms of treatment?
When I found out, I started antibiotics. I did 6 months and I was so ill. And I just didn't see it as an answer.
Lyme disease is one of the many microbes that has entered our system. And I feel as a physician that things are getting to a degree that's serious. We're watching other mammals die out and kind of think, well, I'm glad it's not me. However, as our environment becomes increasingly polluted, so do our bodies. And then we'll grow bugs in us that are not compatible with human life anymore. So you have a tremendous amount of inflammation in the gut. The Lyme disease leads to a suppression of the immune system, and then you grow these things in you that we're always exposed to. So I'm just going to first do just a few neurological tests on you. So you have a little bit borderline Babinski reflex. There's an upper motor neuron sign. It means you're sort of that significant levels of toxicity in spinal cord or brain, which is a way for me to stage how close you are to possibly developing like a more serious thing like MS. You know, older people often get Parkinson's after they've had undiagnosed Lyme, you know, or Alzheimer's. Younger people tend to, especially women, tend to get MS.
It really struck me today how much I've been in denial of this illness. I mean, I've been feeling really twitchy and just shaky, a lot of neurological stuff that it's like I can't deny it anymore. It's becoming very visible, so I think I'm just in time.
Yeah, there's a warning sign. This is not a mild situation. You're sort of like, you have to do, within the next few months, you have to resolve the issues that you can resolve. Yeah? You have to promise that to me.
I'm ready.
Yeah?
Yeah. It feels like just emergency. It's just a panic in my body that I've learned to just walk around with. Yeah, this is Dana. I am moving into 314. I finally feel like I can let go of it and give it to somebody else to take. There's someone to take my hand and get me through it. I really felt like that today. I can't believe I moved to Seattle. This is so crazy.
The spirochete that causes Lyme disease is Borrelia burgdorferi and related Borrelia. The model that I have used to try to understand all of the possible things that Lyme disease can do is the syphilis model. Stokes, Modern Clinical Syphilology, 1945, W.B. Saunders publisher. It gets into every organ system of the body, and there are chapters on manifestations in the skin, manifestations in dead babies, manifestations in the bone, manifestations in the brain, and particularly dementia. Because dementia and syphilis was general paresis, and general paresis is as close as you could come to a carbon copy of Alzheimer's disease. The diseases are exactly the same. If a spirochete, syphilis, could cause dementia, why couldn't the Borrelia spirochete, over a long, long, long period of time, cause Alzheimer's disease?
Wow.
I extracted DNA from 10 Alzheimer brains that came from the Harvard University Brain Bank. These are the Harvard brain DNA extracts in this tube. Using molecular methods, I was able to find the DNA of the spirochete, which causes Lyme disease, in 7 out of 10 of the Alzheimer brain specimens that we received from Harvard. That's incredible.
That says a lot. Wow.
The results of the experiment could not have been predicted in anybody's imagination when 7 Alzheimer brains gave me essentially the same thing, which is part spirochetal, part human, linked up in one molecule. I about fell off my chair.
So grateful for
If my
individuals
dream
doing
comes
this research.
true someday, that will redefine the practice of medicine. That will redefine the lives of millions of people.
Yeah, and people want to make it up to be in their heads. It's literally a substance, a fibrous substance in their head, in their brains. It's not them that's the issue. It's not a psychological. It's just the impacts of this freaking spiral key like substance in all the co-infections.
The cause of neurodegenerative diseases and syphilis. Could it be that this spirochetal infection, Lyme disease, is partly or wholly responsible for some of the neurologic degenerative diseases we face in this century? Alzheimer's, Lou Gehrig's disease, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis. Those are named conditions for which no cause is now known.
I think we're getting to the root of those issues.
In the last 5 years, a single MS patient, a single ALS patient, a single Parkinson's patient who did not test positive for Borrelia burgdorferi, not a single one.
Root of issue.
About 3 years ago, I became ill with the disease that was ultimately thought to be ALS or Lou Gehrig disease, and had prepared to die within about 2 years' time.
Why do we feel we're immune? Like this isn't going to happen to us. How was it? I felt I was immune till things went chronic. Now all my other symptoms throughout my whole life made sense. We even believe the lies ourselves that we're the issue. Did I get bumped in the head as a kid? Am I just dumber than all the other siblings? We start believing all these lies and totally negate the root of the issue. That's awareness is key.
My neurologist tells me that I was progressing so rapidly that without the diagnosis of Lyme disease and antibiotics, I would have continued to decline, losing strength, eventually becoming bedbound, eventually unable to talk or swallow or breathe, and would have died in a matter of a couple of years, just like anybody else with ALS. So I was started on high doses of intravenous antibiotics, only to see what would happen with no guarantees. To our amazement, within a month, my energy improved, so instead of being exhausted in an hour, I could be up and about and active for 4 or 5 hours. We're now 2 years out, and I find that if I go off of the antibiotics, I lose stamina and I'm not yet back to my full self. But the change is absolutely dramatic.
Wow.
I said, I'm not getting tested. I said, there's no way. There's no way I have Lyme because I've been told by the best doctors that I have Parkinson's. Wow. My name is Ben Petrick. Baseball was kind of like my life. I went from being a gifted athlete to, there's times when it's hard to put a shirt on.
Jeez.
I've been out of the game now for almost 2 years. When you're diagnosed with a disease like Parkinson's, it's like a slow death sentence. That's kind of what you feel like. There's no cure for it. It's just kind of a slow deterioration of your former self. Recently, in the past month, I've been tested for Lyme disease, and a test came back positive, and so I've gone and seen Dr. Martz in Colorado Springs. We're scared. My wife and I are sitting there going, do we want to do this? Because they're talking about sticking something in my vein that's going to go into my big artery, it's going to go into my heart. I'm going, what? So, I said Dr. Martz, and Dr. Martz is phenomenal, and his story is just miraculous. And I said, should I do this? And he said, Ben, if you were part of my family, I would chain you down and not let you leave here until you had this done.
Wow. Absolutely life-changing.
6 months into the Lyme treatment, it's without a doubt better. I mean, there was no question in my mind compared to what I have been in the past. I think it's night and day.
Right now is sitting in my wheelchair. Sean doesn't like to videotape it. So we've gotten a couple tips about that because I think it's important for other people to see this.
She's got a port.
There are times when I feel like I need to get away. Not that I'm trying to run away from her, but that...
It's too much.
Sometimes I need to go and do the things that I used to do before this started just to feel like, okay, that life is still there. You know, I mean, just like her,
That feeling's there for me too, and I just can't.
I know.
We were told it was going to be a long road. That doesn't mean that I don't worry about it driving a wedge. It doesn't mean that I don't think that maybe at some point Sean might change his mind.
Port is something, it's like creating easy access with all the injections, all the IVs. One is getting where they literally install a tube into an artery of the heart, saving your veins from getting pricked every single day. Yeah, they recommended port for me at one point with all the IVs I was acquiring. The money, big issue. So I just had to suffer through the injections, through all the veins, like twice a week for, what was it? Initially 14 months, but it ended up double that. Or 14 weeks, excuse me, but it ended up double that. And it got to the point, certain individuals I wouldn't even trust with the needle to where I would inject myself. And I hate needles. I would often even state, like, I'd rather break my pinky, just turn it sideways or something, than have to experience that dang needle. But it got to a point where I would put the needle in my own vein. Unbelievable what we endure. Individuals are willing, what lengths we're willing to go just to have a shot at life, at our health. We got to advance not just the diagnosing, but the protocols and lead folks on a clearer path to health. We still don't have breakthrough with what helps one individual doesn't necessarily mean it's going to do anything for the next. So it's so uncertain. The only way we're going to really accomplish this is through awareness across the board and re-educating. We actually got to rebuild the whole infrastructure of Western medicine as we know it, because it's not, once again, it's not about our health. They have no incentivization. In fact, it's a business model now that if they breathe health, it could potentially put them out of business. They wouldn't do that. That's why, I mean, very powerful clips we could queue up of, what was it, Dr. Artis talking about the cancer research organizations and the billions and billions of dollars that they've received and no solutions coming out of it. It's a broken model. We need to stop giving. And he brought up so many different examples It's so clear. We have the solutions. We are the solutions. And it does bring up, like, it kind of says it all. With topics like this, there's so many clips. Like right now in this little spiel, I'm trying to articulate, kind of failing, but trying my hardest nonetheless. This very clip more than likely would be taken down as misinformation on a lot of platforms. Why is that? That tells us everything we need to know right there. Such a tough road. Oh, is she successful? About you, but you can skip a pregnancy. I'm good skipping pregnancies.
Well, here we are in East Hampton, New York, a place I probably never would have seen if I hadn't gotten Lyme disease. Wow. I've come here all the way from California to see one of the top Lyme specialists in the world. And I've been coming here for the last 4 years.
Gosh, we become so desperate. Do anything within our ability.
When did you start the combination therapy? Last year, right?
Yeah, I've been on it for a year.
Are you still improving or have you hit a plateau?
You know, the truth is, I've hit a plateau.
How much antibiotic is enough? How many symptoms that are still present reflect an active ongoing infection versus just damage that's going to be there forever? Somehow the spirochete can learn to live within the body and not be killed. It can hide from the immune system, it can hide from the antibiotics, and both at the same time. And there are patients who sometimes are on open-ended years of therapy because of this very problem.
This disease, it's taken over my whole life. It's been a horrible journey.
Every day driving home, I would think of driving a car off the road or something like that.
I said to my mom, you know, it would be okay with me if I didn't wake up this time.
I said, God, take me home tonight. It was not even a request, it was a demand.
What's gonna happen to me? What's gonna happen to me? I don't wanna die.
I am scared. I'm very sad because I don't know what to do.
I'm going downhill, gradually down, 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 down.
The worst part is knowing that you're just not a normal person.
That breaks my heart. Kid, you're totally normal. There's something abnormal in your system that is impacting you in that way. Let that touch your heart. Let's save these children. Oh my gosh. If we've had a good turnover on this live, and there was a graph, folks, that was shown early on as to how this is ramping up. It is a true epidemic. More of us, in fact, have Lyme than we even know. I wouldn't be surprised at this point if that's not a particle that they're including in the sprays overhead happening daily in our skies. Nope. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
chronic Lyme disease. It's kind of the disease du jour. There's no evidence that I can find to support the concept that there is a chronic Borrelia infection after treatment. That kind of situation has been referred to as post-Lyme syndrome or post-Lyme symptoms. Those symptoms may be due to the aches and pains of kind of daily living.
The Infectious Diseases Society of America just published their Lyme disease diagnosis and treatment guidelines.
Chris Newby.
And it's been a huge disaster for the Lyme disease community. They say that Lyme is easy to treat and easy to cure. They're saying that 2 weeks typically will cure most cases of Lyme.
So wrong.
And they say that chronic Lyme doesn't exist. If people have symptoms beyond 1 2 to 4 week dose of antibiotics, they have something else. And
by the way, the CDC, luckily due to a lot of Lyme warriors, now acknowledge it is a chronic disease.
they send them to a psychiatrist or give them some pain meds or some steroids and send them away.
If you look at the new IDSA guidelines, it's a very threatening document. It's very restrictive. So it almost was designed with a purpose in mind to restrict the treatment of Lyme.
A handful of people are pretty much the gatekeepers for information about this disease. Out of 400 references that they posted at the back of the guidelines, half of them were based on articles that the panelists or people in their labs had actually written. So it's not like they went through and looked at the whole body of Lyme research to come up with the best recommendations. They looked at a small group of articles, about half of which were written by themselves.
These guidelines are based on the best scientific evidence that from more than 25 years of study.
It completely ignores a worldwide body of literature that is in contradiction to what they're saying.
We're not going to ignore good science, but the science isn't there.
There we go.
We had begun deliberations, and we were going to go over the late and chronic stage. We never got to discuss late and chronic Lyme disease. There seemed to be pressure from the IDSA to put out something, even though we couldn't agree. So what happened was, Dr. Wormser did take over the chairmanship on the guidelines for Lyme disease, and we never met again. We just said, here are the guidelines, and you can sign them and agree or not.
They're written in almost legalese terms, like this can be a document used in court cases, maybe against physicians, or maybe for insurance companies to justify cutting off treatment to their patients because these are the guidelines.
Really, those guidelines
so corrupt
reflected the idea of one or two people, but they've been misused by insurance companies who don't want to pay for treatments because that particular guideline says we don't know if chronic Lyme disease exists.
Jeez. They're not in the business of health.
Well, the insurance company has refused to pay $10,000 worth of bills having to do with my trips to see Dr. Burscano.
Jeez.
They have now required me to see another doctor. This particular doctor apparently is a fellow who works mostly for the insurance company. What he'll do will be to cite the IDSA position that there's no such thing as chronic Lyme disease to support a conclusion that the insurance company's already made about me. They don't want to pay.
They got the serpents in the health freaking logo. Unbelievable. Yeah, that's not an indicator to evil actors. I don't know what is. We're not seeing what's blatantly in front of our own eyes.
Rather than make the assumption that 2 to 4 weeks of antibiotics is enough, where did anybody get that idea from in infectious disease? Tuberculosis is not treated in 2 to 4 weeks. Hepatitis, a year to treat that? HIV, indefinitely? So we're not talking about new concepts. We're talking about concepts that have not been, for whatever reason, applied.
This doctor's controversial diagnosis and treatment of Lyme disease with powerful intravenous drugs could very well cost him his medical license.
What?
The evidence will show that Dr. Jimsek believed the IDSA guidelines to be flawed, to be wrong.
I respect the IDSA tremendously. I belong to the IDSA. The Lyme philosophy is run by about 12 people who have been doing the same 12 people for the last 15 years, and they haven't really changed anything.
Right.
I tried to influence the IDSA through a series of letters with the president and the chairman of the guidelines committee. We pleaded with them to open up the process about Lyme guidelines.
He's been working really hard for the last year to try and get the IDSA board to listen to his suggestions for the treatment of chronic Lyme. And now he's before a medical board review, and it makes you wonder, you know, is this retaliation?
Furthermore, for each of these patients, Dr. Jimsek prescribed a course of
Unbelievable.
intravenous antibiotics to be administered to the patient for months on end.
Long-term antibiotics provide no additional benefit. And it's not that this is safe. There are many complications to long-term antibiotic therapy.
I was a patient of his for 7.5 years, diagnosed with Lyme's disease, wholeheartedly believed him, and never had Lyme's disease.
3 years ago, you wouldn't have thought she'd live another 2 months. He literally saved her life, no question about it.
If I hadn't seen Dr. Jemsek, if he wasn't available, I don't know that I'd be here talking to you.
So here's a man fighting the current infrastructure, approved things that clearly are only pharmaceutical, that are only leading because it's patented drugs. So there's individuals behind that can make money on that. But he's bringing other real stories and testimonies and research and evidence, bringing life back into individuals to the table to question the current protocols. And his licensing's under threat. Well, could it be he's threatening the infrastructure of this big business? And the bottom line, a lot of his protocols aren't leading to big money in these individuals' pockets, so they're going to just turn everything against him. It's so clear. Things are just, we need a complete overhaul on how things are being operated, not just in this country, but around the world.
Dr. Jimsek doesn't get cleared. There's a message that's going to be sent to the other doctors in North Carolina.
Right.
That it's not safe to take a Lyme patient on and treat them.
Wow.
We can't have that happen. I don't know what we would do.
It is difficult for doctors who want to stand up and help these patients because it is a political disease and an economic disease as much as it is a bacterial-borne infection.
My office was stormed by the Board of Nurse Examiners.
I got a letter around 2000 saying that I was the subject of an investigation.
A complaint went in from a physician to the Virginia Board of Medicine stating that I was following unusual practices in treating Lyme disease patients.
Here we are in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we're on day 2 of the Jemsek trial.
Oh, we're going.
Dr. Jimsek's license is suspended for 1 year. Stayed.
Get out.
Conditions to be determined. That concludes the hearing in this matter.
How much did Big Pharma put into your bank account,
his
fella?
medical license for the way he treats Lyme disease. Less than an hour ago, the state medical board ruled that Dr. Joseph
Disgusting.
Jimsek acted inappropriately when treating some patients. The board suspended his license for 1 year.
Says it all. Says it all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Medical boards don't act on their own. They need a complaint to initiate an investigation. And we've been told by the medical boards that the great majority of complaints don't come from doctors or patients, but they come from insurance companies trying to get rid of doctors who cost them a lot of money.
Boom. Huge corrupt layer to our Western medicine as we know it. Insurance companies.
There has been for many years a controversy within the medical community about how best to diagnose and treat Lyme disease. We allege that Dr. Jones prescribed an antibiotic to a patient he did not know and had never examined.
As a mom, my kids were sick. I left no stone unturned.
Wow,
I finally found somebody that recognized what their problem might be. It was treated, in my opinion, appropriately, and my kids are better now because of it.
Wow. Are they not going to hear the testimonies?
This whole thing is kind of ridiculous, I think. It was really nothing more than a witch hunt on behalf of my ex-husband.
This is why a lot of these doctors now are under the radar.
He called me and he said he was going to lodge a complaint against every doctor that I took the children to unless I agreed not to bill him for half of the medical care.
How could my dad have done this? He used to go, "You don't have Lyme disease. Dr. Jones is just making it up so he can get money." And I thought, you know what? No, he isn't, because I was always sick. And then when he told me and my brother and my family that we had Lyme disease and we got treated for Lyme disease, we got so much better.
Did you testify contrary to Dr. Jones's opinion in a criminal case in the last several years?
Yes.
Did you ever call him a nut in public?
Wow. Patients develop physical complaints, but it's got a psychological basis.
Dr. Jones is the best pediatric Lyme doctor in the United States. So the implications for me is that if my son's Lyme comes back, or if we contract it again, then you'll be taking away the one person that can truly help us. What kind of response would you get if this was a kid with cancer?
Right.
Everybody and their mother would say that this is inhumane.
Right. It's a great connection.
Dr. Jones is not the heart of the problem. I think the opposition, they're going to use him as an example if they can.
Golly.
Perhaps to frighten other doctors so that they won't want to get involved in care.
I was reviewed by the investigators for 4 years.
Such an
As long as I'm not too well known, it's okay to do what I do, but if I would become very well known or very outspoken, I think that I would probably lose my medical license.
It got to the point where I would tell people, don't tell the office you're coming in because of Lyme.
Just leave us alone. Let's do our work. If you don't want to treat that stuff, that's fine. But you can't make it go away. It's not going away.
Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, thank you for this meal and help it nourish our bodies and help us advance your kingdom. And just let the truth prevail from it, Dr. Jones, and help him help others. In Jesus' name, Christ, amen.
Amen. Beautiful. We don't want this to be the outcome. We don't want, and this is, you could see how they weaponize words, information, make this all conspiracy, make others bringing solutions to be the wackos. Like, this says it all. You can see the testimonies. This is more powerful than I even recall. And I'm so grateful. Whether it's with my disruptions or the direct source, got the links provided below. Let's just try to get this information out to save lives and create the proper shift in the corrupt systems we're facing that we so desperately need. Writing's on the wall.
We're here today to remember Brett Paul,
Doris Grade,
Robert Baird,
Jerry Teitelbaum Fossing.
And I think it really points out how dangerous this illness is. We're the heartland of the nation, and our people are dying here from Lyme disease.
all over this nation.
My son was 31 years old, and he died from Lyme disease because no one would treat him.
I keep wondering what else I could have done. Should I have taken her to Europe? Should I have taken her somewhere where somebody would have done something? But we don't seem to care in this country.
Right.
They just didn't try to help. When we tried to get medication for her, it was almost impossible because the medical profession is afraid to give medication for this.
If you plugged into the Lyme communities, even that exist on Facebook to this day, and you just start going through the messages that are going on those chats, you will come across a new individual pretty much daily that is ready to throw in the towel. They don't have the finances. The families don't understand. The doctors aren't understanding. They have no way out. They've tried this, they've tried that, they've tried that, and they're just at their wits' end. It's heartbreaking. This is a way bigger issue than we know. I mean, you can see the suicide. You could see chronic illness. Everything is ramping up greatly. Now, I'm personally grateful for the ability to get this information out, at least on free speech platforms. But these very messages they'll be dead on their, before it gains any real traction on any of the censored platforms, which does include Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. X has been liberated to a degree, so that's a blessing. Rumble, that's a blessing. A lot of the podcast apps that we could still post to, that's a blessing. So we could utilize these tools and help people acknowledge the threat of controlling information. You can start to see politically the incentivizations of controlling, the medical, all these nefarious hidden agendas. I mean, it just brings a truth that Jesus spoke about, that there's a God, a prince of this world, and he's here to deceive, murder, kill, destroy. The deceit. I can see so much of it, even me as a believer before, how I was deceived. And there's so many Christians to this day that are being deceived. And it's just leading to more challenge, more suffering. It's a blessing to go through this. There's so much opportunity right at our fingertips. I hope we'll seize the opportunity we have in this moment.
If I was asked whether Lyme disease could be fatal, I would say not in my experience and not suggested by any of the existing literature.
My husband died 2 months ago of Lyme disease. It's specifically on his death certificate.
By the time that they figure out, it's too late.
The last words my daughter spoke to me, her last words to us, "Mommy, they're going to kill me." And they did.
I am one of the many that will speak for her now. She shouldn't have had to die.
I'm angry at the fact that there's nobody there to help me. I'm angry at the fact that this disease is being ignored. I'm angry at the fact that there's a Hippocratic oath out there that these doctors are supposed to heal me, and they ignored me. And they put a price on my life which was nothing. Nobody was there to help me. And instead they blamed it on me by saying it was all in my head.
Wow.
We were having dinner, just, watching TV, and she started having a reaction. It was a mild seizure at first, and it progressively got worse. She was having a problem breathing, and then stop breathing altogether. The first doctor that we met with, first statement was, Lyme doesn't do this, that's not what you have.
They sure know it all, don't they?
Three of the doctors all asked if she's seeing a psychiatrist because they all just assumed it was in her head.
My body had been losing ability for a long time. Cognitive function, physical ability to do things, and I'd been keeping it down, working around it, adjusting my life. So, you know what? I don't want to hear it. And I'm sorry, but I have been dealing with it, and now we have been dealing with it. That's 10 years.
Wow.
That's a long time to be patient.
I mean, it's frustrating to hear doctor after doctor after doctor say either A, Lyme doesn't exist, or Lyme doesn't do this, or, well, what you're experiencing isn't Lyme. It's almost like they've been trained or programmed that this is what they're supposed to say.
It's really madness. There's something wrong. I don't hear it any other disease, never heard it in my life. So there's something funny. I don't know what that something funny is.
Attorney General Blumenthal of Connecticut has taken the historic move of starting an investigation into the panel members who wrote the Infectious Diseases Society of America Lyme treatment guidelines. He believes that they have conflicts that may be corrupting their advice.
Our investigation concerns whether the antitrust laws have been violated, purposefully or not, by these guidelines.
Yes. Expose
they
it.
may restrict consumer choice with tremendous implications, not only for patient care, but also the economics of insurance coverage.
Ideally, authors of medical guidelines should have no financial conflicts when they make their recommendations. But if you look at the current IDSA guidelines authors, 6 of 14 of them or their universities hold patents associated with Lyme disease or its co-infections.
Get out of here.
4 of the 14 have received funding from Lyme or co-infection test kit manufacturers. 4 have been paid by insurance companies to write Lyme policy guidelines or serve as consultants in legal cases. And 9 of the 14 authors or their universities have received money from Lyme disease vaccine manufacturers.
Get out.
The fact that 9 out of 14 authors have a direct conflict of interest with somebody who's involved in manufacturing products for any aspect of the disease is completely outrageous. The Infectious Disease Society of America should establish a hard and fast rule that the people who serve on guideline writing committees not have any ties to any manufacturer that has a stake in the outcome of those guidelines. Period. End of story.
There are a lot of people in the academic community, I think, that know these people are wrong, but no one will speak up. So, at what point will people say the emperor has no clothes?
Right.
When will the voice of the people finally reach a level where...
And this goes way beyond the scope of just Lyme disease. It's cancer. It's everything. Everything. The childhood vaccine schedule. Western medicine as we know it. All the pharmaceuticals with the list. Once again, they can't patent nature. And I get a feeling, you can chalk me up to, call me all the names, please. I love it. I love it. Throw conspiracy in there while you're at it. I love it. But when I walk into an herbal shop, which has has only been a recent experience for me. I know everything I need is right here. It's just tricky to find the right combination in the right order at the right times to really breathe light and life back into my health, my body, and achieve health and what it needs at that time. And now, unfortunately, it goes beyond nutritional balancing, hormonal balancing, just everything it needs to operate. We're absorbing so many toxins. They're fighting climate change a hoax. And in doing that, spraying aluminums, barium, plastics, nanoparticles into our freaking skies. There's all these materials that we've gone over and watched the water that do not belong in there. We need to start our dang list here and start knocking off certain things that are building all this toxin, like accumulation, because that's why it's all crucial and important. You don't need Lyme to experience all this disability. Just accumulating these toxins are having similar impacts and just leading to this great deterioration of our health. The average lifespan in this country is tanking. The birth rate's tanking. Chronic disease is skyrocketing. It's time to address that. It's our lives. It's our loved ones' lives. I hope I'm tripping up over the words, but articulating them enough that we have a great opportunity right now. This is far more important than so many of the things we're engaging in our daily lives. If it's not this podcast and this is going to crash and burn, I'm going to be attacked or deteriorated or something, like, well, I hope you find someone that's willing to show up on the front lines and get organized and create the proper results we need. If you feel we have a shot at it here, check out the links below. We got a direct Venmo, Cash App, buy me a coffee link. Any little bit will go a long ways. If it's not through a direct donation, then check out our affiliations, because that's helping us all and helping you gaining discounts. If not, financially getting behind, supporting the message with follows, likes, shares, and getting more people. It's just a blessing to get more people on these free speech platforms. It will just help them break the cycle of the programming, the spoon-fedness, the manipulation on, censorship, standing up false narratives, suppressing the truth. It's no secret the evil's behind all those platforms, because they're infringing on our agency. They're infringing on our freedom of speech and our rights. And you can see the direction they're heading on is to the destructive nature, not protecting us. It's so clear.
The truth will come out. I mean, I think the truth will eventually come out, but how many more people are going to suffer before the truth comes out?
It's a good question.
As citizens, we ought to be astonished and alarmed.
Every year, there's thousands and thousands of people suffering.
This is a total disgrace. Right to the IDSA. Chronic Lyme disease exists.
Good afternoon, everybody. Continuing hearings on the case of Dr. Charles Jones.
Tell me he gets out of it.
He had their records, which did not confirm the history that the mother had given. He'd been told that Nevada providers saw no reason to prescribe an antibiotic. Nonetheless, he prescribed for both children.
I hate to sound conspiratorial, but I think I have a right to be. I think that would be advantageous for me as a Lyme literate physician and as the only pediatrician in the world who treats Lyme patients to be out of the picture.
There's no charge that these patients were harmed. In fact, how do we get past this big elephant in the living room that these patients were treated successfully and are now doing very well?
I'm 78 years old. And the worst scenario is lose my license. I don't think they're going to let it go. I know that.
Says it all.
We all love Dr. Jones. He's like a father to me. If they succeed in taking his license away, I just don't feel that he's gonna feel like he needs to be here anymore. And that's very sad to me.
I don't know where my daughter would be without Dr. Jones.
We call him the Lyme Pope.
Oh, wow. He's helped her. Freaking crazy world.
I was probably the 30th individual who had been called before a medical board for treating persistent Lyme disease. They decided to suspend my license with stay, which means that I was allowed to practice, but the damage was done. Within a few weeks, Blue Cross Blue Shield in North Carolina canceled our contract, and then they sued me for $100 million.
What?
Financially, I've lost essentially everything. I've lost my clinic. I've sold the building. In a couple of months, I'll be closing the practice.
Unbelievable. Someone that helped bring
They had
health.
the vision loss, and they were starting to lose their hearing there.
They were really young when they were losing it.
Christy, my oldest child, died 6.5 years ago from Lyme disease. She was 19 years old. Courtney is 25 years old.
Can you say doctor? Say doctor. Doctor. I'm glad somebody stepped in and helped you. That you found the right people. Yeah.
Hey, sweet.
Good, how are you?
You made significant progress. I'm delighted with the fact that your multiple neurologic symptoms are so much better and that you have control of your body. You can live in your own skin. From someone who came unable to swallow and altered bedridden, altered sense of smell and uncontrolled tremors and seizures and couldn't stand up and gosh.
I'm looking good.
You're looking good.
Wow.
Well, my greatest fear is that, like some of the couples out there who have Lyme, that both of us will be impacted by it and that he would have gotten it from me. He's complained about a lot of aches and pains.
I'm not old, but I'm getting older, and there's things that I'm feeling that probably happen to everybody. Like one of my eyes right now, I gotta go to a vision guy because one of my eyes is blurred out, and I've always had 20/10 vision. I mean, all of a sudden this eye, and it was like an overnight thing that suddenly I'm having issues with blurry vision on one of my eyes, getting headaches, which I account towards the blurry vision. But bottom line is...
Mono-like symptoms. He goes horizontal, he's out.
Just feeling lethargic. I won't tell you that it's not in the back of my mind that it is possible.
Lyme is a distant cousin to syphilis, which is obviously sexually transmitted. Now, if Lyme were found to indeed be a sexually transmitted disease, it would change the landscape of the whole argument.
Wow.
The only way that Lyme disease is transmitted is through the bite of an Ixodes tick.
Nope.
We know about Lyme disease. It's something that we have a good handle on.
Nope.
That's really the bottom line.
Wow, liars.
Jared is a very happy baby. It just wakes up happy, laughs all day, giggles. He just loves life. Jared's test came back positive for the Lyme antibody, which means he may be infected. He may end up getting very sick someday because of it. But we're very lucky right now. He's doing well.
Pretty much a guarantee he has it with his mother having it.
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say he has Lyme disease.
With the new information, this is over, golly, 3 decades old. Oh, yeah.
I don't like to use that term right now. Not yet.
Don't live in denial.
The controversy in Lyme disease is a shameful affair because the whole thing is politically tainted. Money goes to people that have, for the past 30 years, produced the same thing. Nothing.
Lyme disease is a significant disease we don't have a cure for. And that we don't have accurate testing. That should scare people. So how do you know if you have it? How do you know how to fix it? How do you know what to do? And that it even has to come to that is scary.
Dr. Maristano, good luck in whatever you do. You're a wonderful doctor.
Well, recently I decided to close my practice. The political climate for physicians treating Lyme is very difficult nowadays.
This is a doctor who was hauled before the New York's Medical Review Board, I think on 2 occasions, and threatened with removal of his license.
You know, I look at these charts and I think of the people who've gone blind. They've lost their hearing. They're in wheelchairs. I mean, it's terrible. And especially because so many of them, it could have been prevented if they were properly treated in the beginning. That's what kills me. Man, it was such a waste. Look at all this. Such a waste of people's lives, of money, resources, time. And all it takes is knowledge. I bet you that if these people, all of them, had seen a Lyme literate doctor in the very beginning of the illness, I'm sure more than half, if not more than 3/4 of them, would never have gotten to that stage, ever.
Golly, I'm
Life
starting
can
to
go in
feel
so many
insane
directions.
trying to even uncover all this. Where's it going to lead other than a big freaking target on my back and potentially more illness with all the biowarfare? I mean, it is so clear we've gone through it all. Enough. It up to, see, I'm even tripping up over words. I need to focus on getting well. Maybe I pre-jumped back into this chair, feeling the way I'm feeling. I actually can't wait to get in the infrared sauna after this and just focus on recovery. Fact of the matter is, if enough people got behind these doctors, if enough people sat down, the more You know what? I'm just at a loss for words. I guess I'm feeling a little demoralized in this moment because I'm feeling the lack of action to an extent. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of you have been incredibly inspiring and influential up to this point. But a year in and a big investment, it just doesn't seem as though we're having the growth necessary to really have impact. We are having impact. I know that. And I don't mean my mortal demoralized state to step in. What do I do? I'd love your input. Reach out to unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. What do you feel I should do? Just keep on keeping on? Yeah.
There's the people that are hit really hard, that are actually crippled and handicapped and very visibly ill. And then there's people like myself that, you know, are invisibly ill, like the Walking Dead. Now there is a possibility of getting my body back. I'm feeling the best I've felt probably in years. I feel like my brain is back. I have more energy. You know, I feel much clearer. This is the first bit of hope I've had. Real hope.
That's huge.
For this whole time. It's almost like I started building a bridge to the other side, and I'm kind of was going that way. And now I'm looking back like, oh, I'm gonna go walk back into my body and start again. It's daunting. I met a lovely gentleman who's been really supportive, and
it's amazing.
I don't know, for the first time it feels so good to have someone's support. I don't have to go it alone anymore.
Look at the power of support, proper support. These people need us.
I can't tell you how excited I am. This is just a marvelous, marvelous new concept. Up until this point, we had the hunch that the bug had to be hiding somewhere in the body in a form which we couldn't really put our fingers on and we couldn't really find with the microscope.
Wow, look at that.
One night as I was looking at the culture of Borrelia, I saw a large colony of organisms protected by a gel-like substance. And as I was reviewing the pictures, it became clear that this was very reminiscent of what they call a biofilm. The idea of a Borrelia biofilm is very, very powerful because the biofilm explains in that one word why some cases of Lyme disease are chronic, why they're hard to treat, and why after antibiotic treatment they may relapse.
Huge discovery.
Because biofilms are by definition chronic, difficult to treat, and capable of relapse.
Wow.
It's absolutely revolutionary. The major medical journals have published that chronic Lyme disease is not real and it's a psychosomatic condition.
Not anymore.
The biofilm model dismantles that entire argument.
That's amazing.
The patients were right all along. It's a great opportunity to say, aha, they were right. And they were right. They were right.
Wow.
This disease nearly destroyed my life. It got really bad. It got really bad. I'm back. I'm glad to be here. Mind you, I had to fight for what I got. In the current system, I get maybe a month of treatment, that's it. Everything you have is what you're going to have for the rest of your life. And yet all the improvement that I've experienced happens after the 3rd year of treatment. And then there's the phase where I start to get my life back. And that's the phase I'm in now. And it's like magic.
And people want to make it out to be a psychological impact. Come on. We're negating doing our own research and what it takes showing up. That's just the more convenient. We're totally discarding what it even means to love an individual. We're projecting as though we love more so than fulfilling it at that point. Unbelievable.
I'm so glad to be here.
See, that's amazing.
Can't even say.
Come from an individual that wanted to take his own life. That wasn't coming from him at all. Amazing. Awesome. Folks, it's over 500,000 now. Get out. That literally explains all we need to know. The politics behind medical health is arguably a greater challenge than the diseases themselves. We'll let this, we want to plug everyone in this, we'll let it play out. Let's ask ourselves, how is it to this day we are still not properly educated with all this information? Or even really know about Lyme disease, when it surpasses breast cancer and HIV combined. The majority of us, it's being swept under the rug and we're not even getting the proper diagnosis. How is it we can't put 2 and 2 together and grasp our health industrial complex is not in the business of health at all? What good would it do them to educate us or provide solutions or admit what in fact they have been involved in themselves? Yes, we have the proof and we've gone over that they are deeply connected to both hiding information and, yes, creating the very problems we are facing. At the root of this, there is a spiritual battle happening, described in this very Bible. Let's tap into our loving Creator's strength together. With that, let's dive into the Jesus is Calling. We are December 17th. It reads, "Come to me with your gaping emptiness, knowing that in me you are complete. As you rest quietly in my presence, my light within you grows brighter and brighter. Facing the emptiness inside you is simply the prelude to being filled with my fullness. Therefore, rejoice on those days when you drag yourself out of bed, feeling sluggish and inadequate. Tell yourself that this is the perfect day to depend on me. in childlike trust. If you persevere in this dependence as you go through this day, you will discover at bedtime that joy and peace have become your companions. Okay, that ended. Let's get that off screen. You may not realize at what point they joined you on your journey, but you will feed the beneficial efforts of their presence. The perfect end to such a day is a doxology of gratitude. Golly, I gotta look up some words here and pronunciations. I can't use words. What am I doing here? I feel not just the sniffles are impacting me, but maybe Lyme's flared up. Let's just have all the excuses compiled, shall we? The perfect end to such a day. Okay, read that. I am here, from whom all blessings flow. We all are here. I'm grateful for our loving Creator. I'm grateful for all the gifts He's continually given me. I don't mean to be showing up all demoralized. It just breaks my heart seeing so many suffering and dating back decades. Fact of the matter is, it's only gotten worse. We haven't properly acknowledged it. So I guess there's a part of being realistic with oneself on this very podcast, bringing lots of sacrifice in. What special things am I really attributing to create the momentum now, the shift we need now? I mean, post-pandemic is kind of already all there, but so many of us are just getting wrapped up into our own lives, as though we did our part in a 4-year election cycle, showing up to put them freaking circles on a piece of paper. Our work has only begun, and it goes beyond the scope of our country. Our government, heck, that's clearly been weaponized against all of us and a very effective tool from evil, as we've also exposed on this platform. Well, shoot, folks, I need to get in the sauna. I need to kick this sniffle thing in the butt. I don't know what's going on, but I'm so excited to continue to do what I can. God, you tell me. I'm relying on God and your inputs as to whether or not I have a knack here, whether or not I should continue on this path, or if there's more effective ways to get engaged, involved in the life we're given. I'm very excited for this Thursday. We have some Lyme warriors coming on, and I'm very excited for the information they're going to be going over, because apparently there's been some breakthroughs on some products and some things, and I know it's good to be skeptical on any information brought forward, but I wouldn't be bringing it forward if I didn't have excitement and a feeling that it would lead to blessing so many of us struggling with Lyme, and not just Lyme, to bring health back into the mix. We need the best versions of everyone with an abundant amount of clarity, energy, excitement, and function energy each day. Well, there's a few biblical references. I challenge you to check them out. We got 2 Corinthians 4:6, Matthew 5:3-6, 3 and 6. Bit confused there. Colossians 2:9-10, Psalm 156. I'm grateful for all this literature. Grateful for the Bible. Figuring out as to the why we're here is so clear. It seems often, even for me and so many Christians, even with the belief in the Bible and the biblical knowledge we acquire in this life, we still don't properly acknowledge what the devil's here doing. How impactful he's become, how infiltrated he's gotten into just everything. Even, yes, our churches, to an extent. That's why I feel it's relationship over any religion. Then you'll gain the proper armor to show up and not be hurt or misled. All right, I'm struggling. I'm just fumbling. I love y'all. Hopefully I'll feel a little bit better and we won't have the internet connections issues we had today, and be able to present. We're going to continue on this Lyme awareness. So it's to be determined whether we'll dive into the under our skin part 2. I haven't checked that out yet. I don't really have means, but I do feel called to donate to their cause. Maybe buy their DVD or digital version. I challenge us all to potentially check out the links in the description below. Okay, that's it. I'm Fred. Until next time, take care.